Con todo derecho, un lugar sin rumores ni fantasmas. Con todo derecho, un lugar sin rumores ni fantasmas.
Gustavo says that Christina Kirchner's impunity management plan is not over yet. Jessica Bossi clarifies that the fact that on June 10 she declared Christina Kirchner's house arrest at San Jose 1111 threw the Argentine government off track. That is, they had no it planned, they had no strategy. Says the article Milei against Christina's Black Swan. The most important thing that note says is that the government is unfocused in its strategy and that they are using the government's actions of the week to extorting Gustavo. Bossi says that the new federal police with the new powers in which Milei left ensured what from that official provision the PFA monitors the web, the internet. As Gustavo tells, the federal police reports on the fictitious events of putting the data of Marcelo Bravo and Renata Blacta associated with my brother Marcelo Galarza. Gustavo Galarza in monitoring by the Argentine state 24 hours a day, second by second in all devices. All the extortions that I receive with Google and YouTube all days is the collection of the Argentine state, the entire Argentine state, judiciary, the SIDE, the CIA and the European and international allies, the Chinese. The monitoring uses the derogation of weapons to extort me here with the neighbors. Immediately the neighbors here threw fireworks and made kisses and extortions. This is to show you that to finish the video that we did previously. Now there are the new world winners. Trump uses to undermine to Gustavo, all three issues at the same time together. The war of Hamas versus Israel, the war between Ukraine with Russia, the trade war and now introduces other world players at the head with Trump, Netanyahu and Javier Milei. Introduces the fact of the week that Israel started the war against Iran. It ends with this article where the fact occurred that the United States Army bombed the bunker where they have hidden the atomic energy operations that the Iranian regime is carrying out it. Ernesto Tenenbaum uses all that in. I mean, he has more boast Trump, Netanyahu and Milei who are the new world winners and also. And coupled with the trade war with Europe they leave a weekend pass because they have to work. US create chaos, the Europeans have to respond and the world has to respond to all the chaos US created. So they leave the information vacuum about the Europeans for their work to influence Gustavo. Idiot because the Europeans already said that Trump was coming and that nothing would be done throughout 2025. Then they used Juan Tocatlian who was a code that was one of those who were in rock and pop radio with Roman Lechman, Kuchevaski and Fernandez Moore. Also Tenenbaum has a list of all those other world winners. That humanity would be in charge of them. They are all criminals, they persecute the press, they persecute minorities, they persecute homosexuals, what else? They are fascists, dictators, they abuse their power and they don't comply with the debts that here, for example Christina Kirchner. They don't pay their debts and they don't comply with, they don't respect the state's oversight bodies. And Tenenbaum wants to make me believe that results matter. Because the result that matters in Gustavo Galarza's situation are the two complaints that Gustavo filed against President Milei, against Javier Milei. That's what's required because everything they do here at Gustavo Galarza's house and his humanity is already illegal and Milei's been reported and they should cut crime off. Now there's Gustavo too, in the photo of Gustavo from Trump and Netanyahu with the plane tree, they peeling the banana. It means that the satellite abuses the physicist Gustavo Galarza in the genital areas of Gustavo. Of course, because President Milei uses the idea of mandrill and leaving his ass like a mandrill and all that for Gustavo Galarza which is purely and exclusively the satellite's ability to lie and generate false data about Gustavo Galarza. Gustavo Galarza is telling Trump and his little friends to stop abusing Gustavo Galarza's body, torturing the body, and with electric cattle prods and demand something from one uses satellite here just like me 24 hours a day. That explains Tenenbaum of satellite abuse, explains it in PN degree 10 E Javier Milei's secret codes. That means the 10th plague of Egypt. Karma will come out of your mouth. We came to Comodoro PY to file a complaint against the federal court N degree 10, Secretary 20, because they do not want to give us the certified copy of file 3792,014 because according to the secretary or deputy secretary, that case is very old. We accustomed to the manipulations of the AFI and the CIA. And of all the criminals who are here, all the criminals, friends of the embassy who are here. Okay, so we predict what you have a prosperous future for all of you, more or less 2 years, so when after the elections 1 more year. Acephaly law. So you are playing for the acephaly and doing it quite well, so we will celebrate the good and orderly acephaly that you will have it. The justice is the best thing that can happen to a human being. So we predict a lot of justice for you in prison. It took me 3 years to get there. Comodoro PY Court. I tell when I was there in the hallways. The great Daniel Scioli, who took crashed cars out of the parking lot of municipality or the police, and put them on the street to send me messages. There are several files a compliant that tells us Scioli left crashed cars, those who want to the acephaly law. Charlie Garcia had a song that said the karma of living in the South. Karmas are like a nightmare, as Alberto Fernandez did in the middle of the year. At beginning of the year, he went to sell commodities and Alberto went to sell energy. The karma that the lady who likes to invent karmas made the ideal karma for the Argentine pipeline still stoked. Karma of having Cristina Kirchner. The karma of having all the unpresentable people that you are. The guarantor in the acephaly law is the judiciary of the nation. It is not the other two powers. With those 4 files a complaint that I have that will remain without president. Yes or yes. The world and Europe is interested in the United States. They is interested in the abuses of its CIA. They is interested in the abuses of its CIA against individual freedoms and the abuses against individual freedoms of its hegemonic monopolistic media, the internet, Google, etc., etc. The karma of coming to the South is the karma of each and every one in the stablishment Argentine, which is not 47 million Argentine. So when the stablishment boasts that you are part of the 47 million Argentinians, just as I boast that I have 99% of the world on my side, I have 99% of Argentinians on my side, and so the karma of living in the South will be the karma of getting rid of the kick in the ass that the 99% of Argentinians who are outside of the mess you invented will get. Of the mess you made up and the mess for which I am not going to be responsible in any way. Argentina could reach a headless state after a year of the new government. 1 year after the new government. So, Milei responds fighting with the journalist Giulia Mengolini. Milei responds to Gustavo Galarza, the satellite is going to torture you more, which is why what we want is going to come out of your mouth. It's a lie because no matter how much torture they do and threats they make, the fake criminal cases are closed. So President Javier Milei and that manage the impunity plan. Milei want to save the United States government, Cristina Kirchner, Mauricio Macri, Scioli, Kicillof, himself and the Clarín holding of the fake criminal Annabella Lorena case. So that's why they're promoting the Cervini de Cubria dinner. The week between of July 2nd and July 4th and 6th, this Cervini de Cubria scene was already used last week to bother Gustavo and the police PVA were present here at my street house. You'll see that at that dinner there's this. Cervini is motivating Cristina's releases of house arrest. There's Gerardo Zamora and his wife, former Governor Zamora and his wife Senator who are of CFK. There's Tolosa Paz and Enrique Albister who are of CFK too. And there's whatever Julio Conte Grand the attorney of. And at the nearby table is Adrián Suara Voind the Hidden Lake too. It means if Cristina Kirchner denounces Gustavo Galarza, President Milei would pardon Cristina. As stupid as Hidden Lake, the monster, the Loch Ness monster, totally false. That Donald Trump sells everything. Populists sell everything as if it were a moral act and holy act. Also a pretension in his claim to shout that Javier Milei is a moral actor. Of course, that's what Jessica Bossi says. A person of faith or as a person of faith says. Yes, I saw that Milei is to play jar books. What Milei know the Bible, it does not mean what is a person of faith. It does not mean what is a good person. That Milei bragging that he is a moral actor or a moral president also in the case of Gustavo and always the same as one. Cristina Kirchner because she's staying in the Lidl balcony saying that she will return and as we said yesterday the fact also that you cannot it is feasible that the fact that does not justify too much. How Cristina the claims to the Supreme Court of Justice is to not leave the ball to the Supreme Court to score the goal, do you understand? Yes, of course, Cristina Kirchner wants to continue selling herself as a moral actress, right? Did Cristina acknowledge any crime? Cristina Kirchner will be going to trial in November for the notebook case. Cristina, did she admit to some crime in the notebook case? Cristina Kirchner never admitted to any crime in her life, never admitted to any error in her life, in her political life, no. Cristina's the public debt is 50% higher than Mauricio Macri. Year by year, no, because Cristina was there for 4 more years. Year by year. That's in the war videos with the same graphics of her that Cristina Kirchner presented saying that she didn't owe anything. Did Cristina acknowledge his mistake that Alex Kicillof adulterate the graphics? No. That both hid the extension of the debt, and the foreign debt removes for $68 billion that they both subtracted from the total public debt of Cristina. Yes. Now it's still being sold how a moral actress, why? Then there's the notebook case. Cristina is selling out as a moral actress, we explained yesterday, technically because she won't let Supreme Court judges take the ball. Because if the Supreme Judges says, there is such a thing that is said in the file, that it was not like that, the judges will have to go and refute what the file says, such a thing. The only thing Cristina's going to do is prove to herself, to the judges, that she's lying, and they're going to refute her twice it. Cristina follows the campaign to show herself as a moral actor. And Milei does the same, he does the campaign that he is a moral actor. And shouts it. His little ones from Caracol Web, the Caracol Web, Carajo, they mark and persecute homosexuals and call them pedophiles, probably without any proof, because, I mean, they are complete nonsense without foundations of the children of the LLA, the ruling party. Because Milei plays the role of moral actor. Because President Milei knows there is the case of Gustavo Galarza. Now Trump, why does he keep harping on about the Einstein files? Because Donald Trump to play the same game as Cristina Kirchner and Javier Milei. Selling themselves as immoral actors. Also anticipating that it is the need to defame Gustavo Galarza. Both Cristina Kirchner, Javier Milei and Donald Trump. All thing is closed. You see, Trump has responded to Bolsonaro's condemnation, saying that the responded to it with the tariffs. With tariffs Trump has responded to saying it's by witches hunt. Witches hunt it's not a moral argument is a stupid argument. The plan is this, the scandal surrounding Bolsonaro's electric anklet and his house arrest, and the discord between Trump, Lula da Silva, and the Brazilian judiciary are the grounds for Cristina's pardon. The Trump administration's presentation of the next ambassador, Lamela, and its revealed intention to interfere in Cristina Kirchner's conviction. Argentina's political and territorial submission correspond to the same idea of immunity and impunity. President Javier Milei was denounced by Gustavo Galarza on February 19 and February 25, 2025, with a 30-page or 15-page complaint, the video of which is on YouTube. The plan is lock up Gustavo Galarza. When Gustavo Galarza is locked up, kill him up immediately because then Europe, the United Nations and the rest of the world cannot defend Gustavo Galarza. There, the President Milei would pardon Cristina Kirchner, use Cristina Kirchner to pardon, with Cristina faith great work for 28 years plus 15 years for Gustavo Galarza's state surveillance. All the accusations that Gustavo Galarza has, refute them with lies and false crimes of Gustavo Galarza, mainly including minor ones. Every complaint that Gustavo made to his family and children. Washington is going to try to pass on data from internet servers to Cristina Kirchner so that she can relate it as if it were true. The internet servers, like the case of the internet servers and whitewashing Washington's satellite technology as if it were real and true, and all the things that Washington did against Gustavo Galarza as if they were real and true, to cover up foreign companies and celebrities, and the brands, celebrities who put minors on the list, and the brands, and all the people who extort Gustavo Galarza. The entire protocol that Google and YouTube use, whitewash it. And legalize it is true. When this is false, Cristina is going to support herself with the Buenos Aires police and federal police to cover up the crimes and the mafia in the province of Buenos Aires, which she inherited from the Eduardo Duhalde, and also the Quiroga family, for robberies, drug trafficking, kidnappings, extortion, and terrorism. The surveillance and crimes committed by the federal police by Julio Andrade, who is the great family defamer who is trying to protect and cover himself with the owners of the province of Buenos Aires, the University of Moron, and Gustavo's relatives, because they need to make people believe that Gustavo Galarza was part of a gang of the two brothers and TJE2 cousins, Ariel and Fernando Gonzalez. So Washington would close it with the Argentine celebrities who are in Mexico, in Spain, and all celebrities of the world and all the brands to cover mainly the Google, Vogue, and cinema participations.